let's talk about what you used to do before you even worked for yourself and what got you to take that leap.
I had my own, I feel like, dark night of the soul. This time where I had been working for so long to like finish my degrees and graduate and get a good job and get the corporate good job with benefits and climb up the corporate ladder. And I had like landed what I thought at the time was my dream job, which was like working in human resources for like a company that I thought was really good. And I got into it and ended up hating it. Luckily, at the time, too, like a few years prior, I had started my first business, my photography business. And that was really just like passion turned business. So I got to kind of do what I loved on the side. It was definitely a side hustle, make some extra income, but I didn't really know how to run a business or grow it from there. So at least I kind of had my foot in the door of like, well, I can do something that I really enjoy and make money. Maybe I should like explore this more. And that's what sent me down a rabbit hole one day. And I found like the coaching and more personal development world and like really dove into that, which really helped pick me up kind of out of that spiral. Was starting to work through that. So that was just kind of the realization and like really kind of figuring out that there is this whole other thing that I could do, just this new possibility. Going into 2019, I actually had started my third business as well, which I had for a while. I closed down last year, but I also had a small virtual assistant agency that I kind of started on my own, built up and scaled, kind of scaled it back down. And then last year decided to close it because it just really wasn't my passion. But that was such a great experience in so many ways that helped me transition out of my day job and have something a little bit more consistent while I was still focused on building the other two, as well as it actually helped support my husband be able to leave his day job at the time about a year later, and then just kind of like learn how to kind of scale up and scale back down and kind of phase out of a business that I knew just didn't light me up, wasn't where my focus wanted to be anymore, but was such a great experience in so many ways.
You said that you need to heal your limiting beliefs. So how did you do that?
I mean, I believe they feel different for everyone. They come from different places, but like they're all similar. Like the idea of not feeling good enough or imposter syndrome. Like I'm so sure there's similarities between everyone. Right. So for me, this has been such a deeper journey than just like, oh, I'll just journal through this, or I'll just do the quote unquote mindset work. Cause that's what we hear so much in just like personal development, the coaching industry, all the things is like this idea of mindset work and journaling and using tools. And like, yes, that's all great. And there is such a deeper level that I really take it to with both my clients because I had to for myself, because so many of these limiting beliefs just come from such a deeper, sometimes darker place, right? I know a lot of my limiting beliefs and things that I am challenged with come a lot from my like childhood trauma. And I know that's very true for a lot of my clients too. Different experiences, different levels of trauma, of course. If they're rooted in something that charged and emotional and something, whether you've processed through it or not, like sometimes it can be almost more harmful to kind of dive back into it with the wrong intention or with the wrong tools and stuff. So I have done so much work on myself, which is honestly why I took a huge step back in last year from my business, because I wanted to focus on my own healing journey. I had a lot of just childhood trauma really resurfaced within these last few years that I started to really dive into and heal in different ways and learn more somatic approaches to the body and movement and how to process through that, not just in your head, not just like through journaling or through cognitive therapies and written words and things like that, but how to really like process it in so many different ways and disrupt those patterns, like offer new insight, but in such a safe held space, which is like with all of my clients I work with, it's very trauma informed. And obviously I can't tell you this is a safe space. I would really encourage someone to just get really curious and be really gentle and compassionate with yourself. How can you acknowledge things that have happened or beliefs that are coming up for you? And don't be afraid to identify exactly what they are and feel it in your body, because from there, you can take different action. From there, you can really allow yourself to work through it or have conversations with yourself or find the right support for you to be able to do that.
And also you talk about how you had to own your own power.
Absolutely.
And so how did you get to the point where you could do that and even realize that that's what you needed to do?
I get chills because it's so important. And that was such a huge part of my journey, especially in business. I feel like this was something that really showed up that I needed to do, of course, when I was like really working on starting and growing my business, because this comes from patterns in childhood trauma stuff that I believed that I needed to like work hard and achieve so much and do in order to receive love, in order to be recognized and noticed, and in order to be safe a little bit. So again, like understanding what's coming up and then where it comes from can be so helpful to just like identify and again, like help you move through it, which is what I had to do. And realizing that, I mean, you said it in the intro, like how many certifications I have, how many degrees, how many things that I have accomplished, like over my kind of like short life so far, how many things I had done that I really wasn't giving myself credit for. And instead I was like continuing to push myself for more and more and just continued to not feel good enough, even though I had like certifications and degrees and things to like tell me I was good enough, quote unquote, but like I was not feeling that. So that was a really big piece of my journey that I needed to work through and really own, like give myself credit for all of the things that I had done, actually like feel it and celebrate myself and take it, like integrate it into me to say like, it's okay to accept this. It's okay to like give yourself credit for this. Like you've done so much, like really kind of, again, have like a pep talk or how I like to think kind of this inner child work of how can you reparent yourself? How can you speak to yourself as like a very loving, caring parent would? And that's a practice that has helped me tremendously.
Do you know your one superpower? When there's so many, if there's so many shiny objects, you know what your one superpower is?
When you ask me this, is this like related to what I do or just like in general?
In general.
I would say my ability to hold space for somebody else is, and even for myself. And this is something I feel like I developed over the years, was learning how to do this for myself too. I've always been the person that people have gone to, like even when I was little, to the person who would like listen to people's problems or try to help them solve things, or just like be the friend, the go-to friend, if you will, right? Like I've always been that person just very naturally to like hold space for people and like deeply listen to what they're doing, which I feel is what makes me such a great coach, but also being able to learn how to do that for myself and allow myself to do that, like feel really good about doing that for myself has been really key for me.
So what do you do when you feel lonely?
I feel like two things come to mind. Of course, I have my like go-to people, the people who just like mean the world to me, both like my husband, I have my best friend, I have a few different friends and my brother who, when I am with them, even though I am very introverted and like people exhaust me, there's a few select people who like, I know if I'm around, I will be energized all of the time because they just like bring the best out of me. So like going to and seeking out those key specific people is something huge.